Hello. Fuck you, Jake. What the hell are
I
you
could
laughing
leave
about?
meeting. I've never seen that. That was just funny. It's like, oh, recording. I'm leaving. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Bye.
Never been on this end, seriously. All right, time for me to do this for you. Hello, and welcome to episode 61 of the VGC Trainer School podcast, where we focus on the competitive side of Pokemon. Whether you're a ladder scholar or a newcomer to VGC, we will help you learn. Jake, you say the thing.
Class is in session. What's going on, everyone?
Not much, just chilling. I was supposed to ask that, Jake. I know you're not used to like me being in the driver's seat, but like that's my question. So let's take it from the top.
Yeah,
How's
Jake,
it
you're being like a
going?
backseat driver right now.
Yeah, you're right. It's been a while. I'm just shaking the rust off, you know?
I'm just playing. I like to hear you say it again. But I'm doing okay. I am still doing locals that are no longer for CP, so they're small, but we still have like a decent little scene here. So we like to have a good time and be silly little guys. And me and two other friends, we took a Dragon Cheer Palkia Origin Form team to my local and terrorized everybody with that. I built it myself. Yeah, it's just real funny getting crits on people. Other people hate it though. Somebody else told me that my team was fun for me and a nightmare for everybody else.
That's like the best like compliment you can receive, I'd say.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. Not laughs or cheers. I was going for salt.
I mean, you were going for cheers though. Like that was the whole strategy, right?
No, I was going for salt.
Dragon cheers.
Oh my god, I'm an idiot.
Bro,
Cutting that
come
out.
on.
Cutting it out. No, that was hilarious.
And we're back.
Anyway, dragon salt.
Dragon Salt. You could have had Garganacl as part of the team too. Rub
Oh,
salt
yeah.
in the wound.
Damn. Okay, that'll be next week.
Next iteration. I dig it.
Yeah. And
That's cool, man. That sounds like fun. You and you said you put that together like while you were driving back from LA.
Yeah, while I was driving, I had the steering wheel in one hand and Showdown open in the other.
It's incredibly unsafe for those of you that may be listening to this in the car. However, if you do have a stroke of genius, pull off to the side of the road and write it down.
Yeah. And I had the beer between my legs, so I didn't have to hold it.
Classic.
Yeah.
Classic beer between the legs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Anyways, beer, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Back and looking forward to it. I figure, Tony came on last week, so I had to make a return. Now I stepped away for a little bit without much of a reason why. It's sort of been alluded to. My wife's pregnant and very excited, having a baby. But then also, too, I was kind of just like getting into some other stuff, and I wanted to take a step back from VGC. I wasn't playing as much, so I felt like I wasn't able to really give as much of a good, analysis and, effort to the podcast if I wasn't really playing it myself. But, got back into NAIC because it was on not during work hours. I was not watching it at work. But it was great to watch afterwards, right? And so I wanted to, come back and talk about it. But honestly, besides that, I mean, I've been playing a lot of different stuff. I was playing a little bit of Gears of War 2, which was cool. Played some Fortnite with you, Spicer. Been playing Knights of the Old Republic, checking that out. A gem from like 2000 or something.
My favorite.
What else? For the baseball fans out there, been getting into some MLB The Show, just watching baseball in general, which is a full-time commitment because they play so many damn games. It's insane. But listening to it on the radio is truly magical. But playing a little bit of VGC here and there, nothing significant. Doing Draft League again, doing random battles again. I swept someone with a coil Electros because they tried to coil up a Sandaconda in my face, and that dude couldn't hit me. So I was able to just, stall him out enough. But really, I'm just like, I'm in a good spot these days, The reset was good.
Heck yeah, love to hear it. I hate when people coil their Sandacondas in my face, but otherwise, good times.
I love it when people coil on me.
Exactly.
But yeah, Gears 2 and Knights of the Old Republic, like 14-year-old me is so thrilled with what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean it's nice to be able to go back to some of the old stuff and not care about the graphical fidelity of it and just be like, this gameplay is really good, you know?
Hmm. You have to do that with KOTOR,
Hmm.
and it's on available on the phone. Play it if you haven't played it, everyone. Anyway, John slash Amlo. John Lowe, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. My job prospects are looking up currently, so looking forward to having all that settled soon. Um, I've gotten into the stage of the regulation where I'm trying out just random crap because other people can innovate like good teams. I'd rather work on funny stuff. So I have a Conkelder Dialga Origin team that I'm working on right now.
I love that. Bringing the conch to Reg G? Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
bringing the comp to Reg G, and it has
The conch.
surprisingly put in some work in the two games that I played with it so far. Um,
Absolutely.
and not gonna lie, it just plays like pretty much any Trick Room or a lot of Trick Room teams with priority denial play, but it's still fun. So it feels like the sci spam stuff that I know you and I ran in Reg F, I think it was. Reg E. I think it was Reg E because it was before Raging Bolt was an issue.
Correct.
But yeah, so I'm excited to just park on that for a while and see how that works. And I've been using the legendary Electabuzz set that we'll probably talk about later on
Ooh.
in the podcast.
Forecasting.
So that's
Foreshadowing.
like who was running that?
Audie
Audi.
and Lexicon were running
Right.
Electabuzz.
Volt switch as they set the trick room.
Well, it was more about follow me and faint, but yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Nice.
But we'll talk about that.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so basically this episode we're just going over NAIC.
Cool.
And stay tuned at the very end. I will be interviewing a longtime member of our community, ShadyTigers, who got day 2 at NAIC. But yeah, to the news.
All right. Congrats to Patrick Connors for winning NAIC, his first major title. It was quite the win. It went to a game 3, I believe. I wrote some notes for myself. It was very fun to watch. I actually just watched it again today for the first time. Good adjustment by Aurelian in game 2, but then able to pick it back up in game 3. It was really cool to see Pelipper and to hear the crowd reaction to Pelipper coming out was so fun to me. It was that was neat. But also Patrick came in second in the VGC Trainer School NAIC prep tournament. So pretty cool that the finalist with us was able to take it home for all the marbles when it really mattered. So congrats to him for sure, representing the local scene of Florida. They were very excited for their hero, their champion.
Yeah, so, pay attention to our grassroots tours because you will find the next champion.
That's true. Because like those tours get really big. So, truthfully, they are a good place to see meta developments and changes, and we are able to get really big names in there that will undoubtedly shape what the future of a regulation could look like. We catch some innovations ahead of time.
Yep. In our next bit of news, NAIC is confirmed to be in New Orleans again in 2025. So for all you saying, you know what, New Orleans is a little too muggy for me this time of year, I think I'll skip NAIC. Well, get ready to skip it again. Anyways, I'm
I
excited
think
because I didn't get to go.
I think in a year where maybe you're able to plan ahead of time, it could be cool. One thing that really was reassuring to me is I didn't see a single sweat line from anybody in the convention center. You know, like I could imagine a place like that where you have, hundreds of already sweaty people in a big room like that, in a place that is incredibly, incredibly humid and nearly triple digits, on the thermometer. People getting hot in the actual convention center, but people they were okay. I mean, even some of the casters were wearing like 3-piece suits. So good on them for hosting a good tournament. And the jazz number at the beginning was very festive and fun. So I could see New Orleans hosting it again and be fun again.
Was that before the finals or something?
No, they did that like the opening ceremony, like the Olympics do. It was like before everything got kicked off.
Oh, okay. I skipped day one, not gonna lie. But I also skipped the finals. So we're gonna cut that out and pretend I watched the whole thing.
Cool, exciting. Dude, I watched the juniors finals in preparation for this. Man, come on.
Whoop
Jesus.
whoop.
Yeah.
Twig win.
I was I was hoping Cali Ice would get the 3 VGC finals sweep, but it just missed it in the seniors tour.
Who won?
Cali Shadow took it in that one, but Cali Ice was the opponent.
Nice.
The
Those
kid in
kids-
juniors was phenomenal. Like I thought he lost turn one and turn two, but then he pulled it back in for game one, and then just game two made it look kind of out of reach against one of the other kid who was undefeated going into the finals. But the guy that won, or the kid that won, was like he also won EUIC. He's a 7-time regional champion in juniors, so definitely.
Oh, that kid. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Speaking of champions, though, unfortunately, this summer after NAIC, there will be no more championship
No.
earning events. So if you were hoping to go to Worlds and earning some last minute CP, unfortunately, you are boned.
I was banking on this last month to get my 300 points or 500 or whatever
same.
it is.
Yeah, so
I only needed, like,
unfortunately, none of us
450.
will go to Worlds anymore. So
All right, well,
sucks to suck, guys. Better luck next year.
but who knows? Maybe your local scene around you, the proverbial you, will still have some stuff going on. Because Spicer, you said the Vegas stuff. You guys kind of just like host things,
Yeah,
and they're like for drinks and stuff.
yeah, basically we have one cool little card shop that's still doing a weekly like I guess it's a PC, but it's not one. Just little tournaments for store credit. And we get like 4 to 8 locals per tournament now because of there's no CP, so not as much turnout, but I think we're expecting a little more on the next one, but at this point it's really just like almost like an after school club just for fun,
Great.
I love Pokemon
Great.
daycare for adults.
straight up. In other riveting news, we've got Electric Terra Embor.
Ooh, electric type pig.
Let's go.
God, he's probably gonna use Wild Charge, and it's gonna be so crazy. I'm gonna be like, "Oh my God, I brought a Water type." No.
And it just kills itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What,
Are these Terra events still good? I haven't done one in a long time.
And they're literally just the starters, dude. It's just catch the starters and feel proud of yourself or something.
No, I know that, but like they used to be like they were challenging at a certain point.
They are challenging, unless you have like the one strat, in which case you have the one strat. Like I definitely failed these events several times because I didn't get the right RNG or whatever.
Right.
more challenging if you do it alone and your own teammate Spinkerchint sets up the electric terrain for Embor, and then you got Soul Rock using Cosmic Power every turn.
If only Soul Rock was in the game, but yeah.
Wait, who does Cosmic Power every turn? I know there's some.
It was Soul Rock,
That
but
was from
Sword
Gen 8.
Shield.
Oh, was that Gen 8? God.
Yeah. Yeah. You're a boomer.
Yeah, for real. I'm a pumpkin.
Wasn't it like the gentleman NPC?
It was
or something?
Martin's Soul Rock.
Martin. That's-
Martin the gentleman was the. Yeah.
Goes to show how much
What an ass.
I've been doing.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, Martin, that guy.
Martin.
Chaos. But yeah, that Immortal thing is going to be from June 14th to 16th, and again from the 21st to 23rd. So mark your calendars. Also, from the 21st to 23rd is the return of the raid we really care about, the Blissey raids.
Woohoo!
Yeah,
Kill them
popping
for
that blissey.
candy. They're basically piñatas,
Ooh, spicy.
Yep.
right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they give us EXP candy. They give us the little terror shard thingies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So for all of you Worlds competitors looking for that totally legit Terra shards you need to build your teams, there you go. You know,
Totally legit.
yeah, not even coughing for real.
Yeah.
My throat is not dry, so that'll
Yep.
be exciting.
Yep.
Build that team for sudden death. You know,
Heck yeah. Would like what would be the best mon for sudden death right now? Kali Shadow or what?
Urshifu. Urshifu
yeah,
plus a helping hand bot.
Oh right. My next
yeah.
plan for my next event is to just like have a terrible switch that just always loses connection and then just use Urshifu.
Game rigging.
I
Love
like
it.
that. I like that.
Yeah, yeah. That's how you win.
I fully endorse that. Do whatever you have to take, whatever you have to be able to keep winning locals, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do you, boo boo.
Here at the VGC Trainer School Week, fully endorse cheating. It's an essential part of learning VGC.
Well, it's like, that openings, it's like what, like that Naruto season or whatever, where they have to pass their tests and like you're supposed to cheat but just not get caught. It's like the same thing.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing.
Exact same. We're all ninjas.
I never watch Naruto because I'm not a nerd. Just kidding. It's a
Okay.
Pokemon podcast.
All right. All right.
Okay.
Casting your shame jutsu.
Gross.
Just kidding. Anyway,
Is it jutsu? I said jitsu, didn't I?
Yeah, you did say jitsu as
God
in
damn it. I'm such a
jujitsu.
fraud.
I don't know. Sorry, I watch good animes.
Good is a strong word there.
So
buddy.
many people coming for my throat.
There's no pivot from that.
You
You're
can't even
digging.
volt switch out of that. Hey yo. Hey yo.
I'm sorry, everyone. Anyway, let's get into it. NAIC, the National Association of Intergalactic Corporations.
Oh man, I hope that doesn't happen. But yeah, that's basically what NAIC stands for at this point. It's like Space Force and shit, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Cool, 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 cool.
So yeah, we got just go over I want to go over these top restricted mons real quick.
Okay.
Just in order from 8th to 1st. We got Kyogre, Cali Ice, Terapagos, Kyogre, Miraidon, Cali Shadow, Terapagos, Cali Ice.
Yeah, I think that kind of makes sense. I mean, Cali Ice definitely. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the last few regionals, including this one, including this, IC, it's been the top restricted by usage. Correct?
What, Cali Ice?
Yeah.
Are we talking like general or what are we thinking?
It felt as though when I was seeing those graphics that they would put up of the usage rates on restricteds, Cali Ice was typically like 1 or 2.
Oh yeah, definitely 1 or 2 at least.
Yeah.
It's pretty much between the Calis, and it always
But
has.
this is its first major win, correct?
It won in Buenos Aires in Argentina,
Okay.
like week 1 of the format or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean it's definitely needed. It's definitely had it been a long time coming.
Yeah.
To win because it's like the most consistent, as in like play wise, not necessarily consistent in results, but just like how it plays. It's like, yeah, that's an honest mon.
Clear Amulet really did a lot for that, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it prevents Ensign counterplay, and Terrifier does the same thing.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
really
Cali Shadow
gets slapped on every physical restricted Because when you're
Yeah.
protecting your king, you don't want to get intimidate cycled.
Yes, King.
That is
And then
just a life
Maridon was
lesson right
popular
there.
at LA. And then Maridon was popular at Bologna. But yeah.
So to me, this restricted like top 8 and generally the whole top cut looks like what we predicted Reg G would have like day one as their top mons.
I
And
don't
then
know about that though, right? Like Maridon is kind of like it kind of
no, like
didn't perform well,
no,
or at
no, to
least like wasn't
me, this
anticipated.
is like before everybody went mid from right on. I guess not even day one of Reg G. I feel like this is like what was predicted day one of like Gen 9. Like people were like, oh, well, that's a ridiculous ability and unlock.
Like before, kind of like the before we knew anything type of deal, where
Yeah.
we just saw the stats of like, oh, Maridon and both Maridon and Koridon, their speed's so high, their corresponding attacking stats super high, they're bulky enough type of thing.
Yeah, and people were like underestimating Koraidon and overestimating. Well, it's not really over now, but Miraidon, and then like everybody thought it was mid by the time it came out until it like showed what it could do, and then everybody was like, "Yeah, well, the Callies are just overpowered, so we'll see those."
Mm, mm. Say it again. Say it again for people in the back.
The Calirexes are overpowered.
OPAF.
Well, yeah, like in a non-Dynamax format where they're able to just fire off 100% accurate double target moves. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of double target, 100% accurate moves, we got Terapagos, which I'm sure anybody could have predicted. Well, if the DLC legendary restricted from Gen 8 is so freaking good, then the Gen 9 one will also be so freaking good.
pay to win, baby.
And then Kyogre is Kyogre. So,
Which I hold on. We can't just gloss over the fact that this Gen 3 Pokemon continues to hang around and like always perform well. Like I realize that Groudon is now being sort of like left behind because it's been replaced by Koraidon as potentially the better like the Sunsetter. I got to give props to Kyogre. Like that's pretty cool that, back, I don't know, feels like what, 20 years ago at this point, they were able to craft maybe even more than that. They made a Pokemon that has withstood the test of time and doesn't even need the primal reversion that it had in, Oros.
just goes to show that they have not been playtesting things for competitive play since the very beginning.
Okay, two sides of the coin, I suppose.
And there's a big difference between Kyogre and Groudon and Koraidon, even being that Groudon brings the sun, which helps fire, but it's a ground type. Kyogre brings rain, which helps the water, and it is a water type.
Whoa.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
what do you mean? Groudon's got Heat Crash.
yeah.
That's cool.
And Koraidon has Flare Blitz, but
and Flame Charge. Don't forget.
Yeah, there's one dragon that has stab moves that are boosted by its effect. Well, I mean, like obviously they gave Koraidon like the little buff too to help that out, but it's just not the same.
Mm.
He's got to like Terra Fire to get into his own weather type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also doesn't get an attack boost in the same way that Hadron Engine gives a special attack boost in electric terrain for Miraidon. It's just like it's multiplier after multiplier with that thing.
It gets like a little built-in attack boost. Okay, so they both get that boost, and
Yes.
but Miraidon gets the extra boost, being that it can use stab attacks that are benefited from that.
Correct. Yeah, because Koraidon is not a fire type. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
but the point is that Miraidon is broken, and if they really wanted Koraidon to succeed as much, they would have made it a fire type.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
I see that.
Ain't that the
Wow.
truth?
You know what we haven't had in a while? A firefighting type.
Right. I guess they were just like, we can't just do a fire dragon and an electric dragon again.
Or
Because they were saving them for the legendary beasts paradoxes,
Right. But we literally had those box restricteds before. Maybe that's why they were too stubborn to do it, but I don't know.
I think you also forgot to mention one of the other restricteds in this in the top 8, Ditto played a really big role. And like I'm kind of joking, but also kind
No.
of not. Like I don't know. I think it's kind of cool that Ditto found a little bit of a niche of being that second restricted in
Yeah.
a single restricted format.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of pivoting and positioning and somebody to really strategically figure out, okay, I'm going to build a team where I'm either anticipating that both of my two Pokemon are going to die at the same time. That way I can bring in the Ditto exactly where I want, or I'm going to have so much pivot on it that I can maneuver around to bring in the Ditto wherever I need to be able to copy exactly what I want, which I also have to determine ahead of time what I'm going to want to copy on the opposing team.
I mean, yeah,
And
it
then
should be
you,
probably shadow check on that team.
exactly, right? Because then it's like scarfed and you bring it in and you're like, oh, great. Oh no, my Pokemon just both died. Now, oh, here's the Ditto that's coming in with a +1 speed and +2 special attack. Oh, I guess I'll just win now. It's it's pretty neat. I could never I've never messed around with Ditto, but it's impressive when you see it happen and it works out correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It checks a lot of things as long as you're not in Trick Room, which is just pretty cool.
Hmm. That actually, I think that was kind of what lost Justin Burns his match, where he had copied an opposing Cali Ice, but his was scarfed, so he lost to the opposing Cali Ice plus Raging Bolt under Trick
Hmm.
Room.
Mm.
And then I think there was a match where Judy Azarelli had, I think, dittoed the wrong Mon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you had mentioned that he had misclicked in like some interview after the fact or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I would do, but instead of going 12-3 after that, I would go 5-4.
Mm. Sounds like personal experience.
A lot of it. So yeah, you wanna talk about like 9 through 16 first?
Sure. Anything jump out to you, John?
Yeah, so I think the first one that sticks out to me is that Electabuzz team in what
Yeah.
12th or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So this is Alex Underhill.
All caps when you spell the man's name.
Yeah, right. So it's Alex Underhill from Tub Takes. Him and Audie ran this Choice Scarf Annihilate, Calyrex Ice, Electabuzz, Farigiraf, Smeargle, and Ursaluna Blood Moon team. So four of these things look pretty familiar. If you've played the ladder like ever, you've seen Cali Ice plus the triple normal types at least somewhat frequently, right? Um, but the cool thing that I think is some real nice innovation here is that you have Feint and Follow Me on that Electabuzz. What Feint allows you to do under Trick Room is to bust through those protects that people try to spam so that your Glacial Lance actually hits stuff basically every turn you want under Trick Room. And you have Follow Me plus Vital Spirit to deal with Amoonguss. Now, if you put two and two together, that means that you can avoid Amoonguss, which is a popular Trick Room counter, and you can avoid Protect, which is a popular Trick Room counter.
Mm-hmm.
And if that wasn't enough, we have Scarf Annihilate with Final Gambit to just punch through your hard checks, or spam Coaching next to Calyrex Ice.
Woo!
Woo! So I really love this team because it takes hard Trick Room and it just tries to solve a bunch of its problems, right? You have Pivoting with Electabuzz, you have Decorate with Smeargle that we've seen before, but you have that Follow Me Feint stuff on Electabuzz. And by the way, Electabuzz is the only Pokemon that gets Vital Spirit, Follow Me, and Feint. It is a 1 of 1. So that's why these guys are running this particular Pokemon and not something like Mousehold that gets Follow Me and Feint.
Mm-hmm. And so Feint is also something where if you click Feint into a non-ghost type that's protected by Wide Guard, that breaks Wide Guard on both slots, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
I mean, that's just perfect on the Cali Ice team.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Got a lot of fun Mons. I mean, I love Smeargle, Electabuzz, and Final Gambit 8.
And it's cool too because with Vital Spirit, Follow Me, that allows you to run Defiant on Annihilate. Because I mean, sometimes you'd see like Vital Spirit on Annihilate that was Scarf, but I guess that was more on like super hard Trick Room teams, which I guess this kind of is. But freeing up the ability to run Defiant is nice because then that close combat or Shadow Claw can actually still do significant damage if you're, if you're getting procced by a special defense drop or something like that, or even, Intimidate.
Mm-hmm. And for those who are wondering, the Annihilate has Shadow Claw rather than Rage Fist, because Rage Fist is only 50 base power, and if you're getting smacked with this Annihilate, it's very useless.
Yeah,
You also get some favorable rolls on Kali Shadow with it.
And it doesn't use Poltergeist because it doesn't learn that.
Correct.
How do you guys feel about this? The All My Friends Are Dead Smeargle.
I mean, it has Follow Me, so that it immediately solves that problem.
Yeah, so it just dies anyways.
Yeah.
This is probably one of those Smeargle that like it's got the focus sash, but it's probably all bulk, right? Where it's like it's running the focus sash on, and then just one of the two defenses.
Super slow. It's super slow.
Yeah, that way it can decorate onto Kali Ice under Trick Room, and it moves first. Which, if you're looking to build a team like that, make sure that you are looking at your speed stats.
Looking at those Nash speed stats.
Yeah, sure.
The rest of 9 through 16, I would say, are a little cookie cutter compared to most teams we've seen, besides Jody and Joe Costa. Yeah, that guy, number 9.
Z.
Z?
Yeah. Their name is Z.
Oh.
Costagliolo. Yeah.
Oh, good job.
And they have, Talonflame and stuff there.
Bird.
Yeah, so the Talonflame.
And I think Eric Rios is transformed Smeargle.
Oh, okay. That is cool.
Yeah.
Those are
Transform in prison would be sick, but like I get why you don't run it.
Yeah. I just wish that I messed with Smeargle and Ditto more. There's still time at my locals to terrorize them.
To terrorize them, yeah.
Yeah, hashtag terrorize.
I mean, otherwise, I like to see, obviously, I know that you cut it right at 16, but Michael Zhang, bring in, Goltrez plus Latios and Zamazenta Titar. It's pretty cool. Michael was on stream. I like seeing that team.
He's that classic Zama team at this point. He's basically
classic.
the Moltres.
Yeah,
Latios,
I guess so.
Rillaboom. The only thing
it is also his team, right?
Yeah. He's basically Zamazenta's strongest soldier at this point, still running it and winning with it. Except he notably switched out Pelipper for Tyranitar, which is really cool, I think, breaking sashes and whatnot. And I was thinking towards the end, I was like, you know what? Is like Pelipper that necessary for this team?
No.
And now I feel a little vindicated on that.
Vindicated. I am selfish. I'm sorry. I can't help but hear that word and think of Dashboard Confessional.
I was a different kind of emo in 2006.
Yeah.
There's at least one person listening to this that will agree with me.
Yeah.
So.
Your wife.
They're the only person.
Yes, my wife. You're absolutely right. We saw them in a parking lot once. It was a pretty good show.
That was when she knew you were the one.
It was cold. We were wearing pea coats. Sorry, I won't derail this any further.
And this isn't the story of you two, even though, I'm sure it's cute as F, but let's
top 8 here, or do you want to?
I think seeing Screamtail on a Terapagos with Amelia Forbes.
I think we unfortunately had Koraidon teams at best make 18th, I think it looks like. So dude is running short, unfortunately.
Speaking of short,
can
you guys look at number 30, Dawei C? Brought Calyrex.
What?
Not like Kali Ice or Kali Shadow, but Calyrex.
What?
No, that's an accident. It says Astral Barrage on its moveset.
Yeah, no, that's Cali Shadow.
Then why is it okay? I
That's-
guess. All right.
If you're on Top Cut Explorer, it just says Cali Shadow.
I was about to
Okay,
just like
okay.
straight up need new pants if that was actually regular.
I thought that was
Galactic.
cool. I thought that was real. I don't
Yeah,
know.
No, that would have
not at
been
all.
the
That
realest
would've
thing
been
of the
neat.
whole day. If that
I will say, in 35th place, we have Koraidon Umbreon Sandy Shocks.
Woo!
So not only did Koraidon Umbreon actually make a dent in the race, but we had Sandy Shocks show up
Like that
for the first time in like forever.
for Sandy.
right below that, Alberto Laura making a return to Corviknight, which is a pretty classic.
He loves Corby.
Yeah. It's a
Wasn't
nice
there also
anthem.
someone who went with no restricted, and they actually got 3 wins? Like,
Yeah,
obviously not day 2, but
yeah.
very cool.
It was like a dancer or a choreo team or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
They're
That
the
reminds me
winner
that's like
in my heart.
similar to last NAIC where somebody in the TCG brought those like massive cards
Yes.
because they worked in oh man, like they worked with like folks that were legally blind or something like that, and that they were like making a statement that they're like Pokemon needs to create cards that are more accessible to visually handicapped and visually impaired people.
Oh, I didn't even know it was like a statement thing. I thought it
there's
was just
lore
somebody
to
was
it.
bringing huge cards.
No, yeah, there was, and they like they got it approved because they weren't deemed as like not legit cards, so they just used a bunch of like massive cards, which was
Gosh.
great, and they
It
got a lot
helps.
of visibility.
It helps to come up with a statement or like, a reason that you've made up in order to justify your ridiculous gimmick.
For sure.
Yeah, your rationale for your insanity.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
Like, it's for a good cause.
Yeah, not just like gluing yourself to the road and disturbing traffic.
Come on, Jake. That's important stuff. Well, we also had a Gastrodon, everybody's favorite slug, looked like 18th place. So
In my journey
Sucking
to
up that
find
water.
that dancer team, I saw a lot of cute things in the 3-6 category, like
Yep.
Blim and Rhydon.
Drip Bloom.
Yeah. Necrozma, Dawnwings.
Ooh.
Hey, NDW got top 8 at Nats.
Mhm.
At Japan Nats, I should say.
A few Chandelures from people who got tricked into thinking that's why it did well before.
Oop.
I like that. Ride the Chandelure train.
Yeah, sorry, getting carried away here. All right, let's get to the real reason we came here, to steal teams from the top 8 list, terrorize all our locals.
Overquill.
Overquill. So, yeah, right off the bat, we got Overquill, Wo-Chien in top 8. I don't know if it gets any cooler than that. There's also
Screamtail
Volcarona.
is right there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but Screamtail is a regional winner at this point. So
You're right.
kind
You're
of
right.
meta.
On a Parish team though. This was on a turtle team, and I like turtles.
A Toidle team.
I like Twiddles too. But I also like snails. And I gotta say that Wo-Chien plus Kyogre with a Sulfest is brilliant.
Yeah,
And
it's cool.
I just am like smacking myself like, why didn't I think of this first? He pollen puffs to get the water spout back. And he just
They had this back at Indy. Like they had the AV Kyogre back at Indy.
with the same Wo-Chien.
No. So back at Indy, it was only 2 effing dark types instead of 4 effing dark types. But
Wait,
Oh wow, I didn't
No,
realize.
that's
I'm looking at it now. I didn't realize Iron Jugulis, Wo-Chien, Incin, and Grimmsnarl all darkened it up.
yeah, I guess that's what a Calyrex meta looks like.
I honestly think it's not because of Calyrex that he put all the dark types. It's just all those mons are doing very specific things. Like the Iron Jugulis, Shiliang said at Indy that it's there to snipe Scarf Urshifus with Stab Hurricane, which Tornadus can't do because it's too slow. And it also gives you a Caloric Shadow answer with Snarl, but like that's a soft answer now that we have Covert Cloak, Caloric Shadow. Then Grip Snarl is unfortunately our best screen setter. And then Ensign is Ensign, and then Wo-Chien is honestly the only thing that's getting like a Super Fang clone plus Pollen Puff. We don't really have any other things that will do both of those things together. So it just
And
happens
then
that
like
dark types are
having
good.
Tablets of Ruin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it doesn't hurt that there's 4 dark types in a Calyrex meta, but they are good mons and they all have
Mhm.
very specific purposes.
Mhm.
I like
Only 2 of which have dark stab moves, and one is Snarl.
and see what's interesting is I like the use of Wo-Chien on this because typically, at least whenever I've built with Wo-Chien, I've told myself, okay, I want to have as few physical attackers as possible. That way, I'm not limiting myself and I'm only limiting my opponent. Yeah, this team also has Urshifu Rapid Strike, Ensign, and Grimmsnarl. But then when you look at them, you're like, okay, but Ensign is really much more of a support bot and like Intim spam. Because it's got, Will-O-Wisp, Fake Out, Parting Shot, and sure, it has knockoff, and like Stab knockoff is good, but you really want that more of a utility. And then Grimmsnarl, it's like your screen setter, like John said. But then, sure, it has Thunder Wave and Spirit Break. And Spirit Break is like a really good stab fairy attack, which is cool. But it's really about that special attack drop.
Mm.
And then if you
Yeah.
think about it, you're like, all right, well, okay, well, then what about Urshifu Rapid Strike? And it's like, okay, well, it's a scarf set. So you're bringing it with Kyogre and maybe just maneuver around not having it on the field with Wo-Chien and you're trying to have it with, behind screens or with Fake Out or with Hurt, like, Tailwind or something like that. It's a really, really cool team that's well thought out that isn't something that you would necessarily, at least me in particular, would think about constructing something like this when I start with Wo-Chien as kind of my baseline, unless it's something that comes in after the fact where you're like, you know what, I'm not really bringing, Urshifu and Incineroar at the same time, or Incin and Grimmsnarl at the same time all the time, whatever. I can have something that's going to lower the physical attack of my opponents.
Mm-hmm.
Plus,
Yep.
the other benefit of Tablets of Ruin is it goes beyond the clear amulets, which is great.
Yep, and knockoff is nice for making Spirit Break and Snarl actually lower special attack on Covert Cloak things.
Yep.
Yep, pretty smart team.
Mm-hmm.
Wish I thought of it. But any other final words?
Not on this team in particular, no.
I will say Shiliang does have a rental on his Twitter. I think it's TSL Tang on Twitter, now known as X. We're going to call it Twitter. So if you want to try out the team, he has the EVs and stuff and the paste and the code and all that there.
Cool.
So that is public information. And if you're wondering, yes, the Wo-Chien is just really that fast.
All right.
So should we talk about Screamtail or Overquill next?
Let's save Overquill, I guess, for last. We'll look at that Screamtail.
Okay. Antonio Sanchez.
Yeah, right below Mr. Tang.
So yeah, I mean, Screamtail is very cool on a team like this. You're able to lock in those choiced item Pokemon with Disable, or of course, lock in those switch in on a Protect and get that Encore off, which is nice. This is a Calm Mind Terapagos, which I think is cool, as opposed
leftovers.
to the specs set that you were seeing, on other teams. But when they were, because this team was on stream, I forget which of the top 8 matches, but they were mentioning how like with leftovers plus grassy terrain, it's able to get back up to that full HP relatively easily, especially with Pollen Puff there. So you're able to reset that ability. I couldn't tell you which one it is because there's so many names of them, but it's the one where it makes everything resisted at full HP, which is cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is like early format Terapagos stuff.
Yeah, this is literally week 1 stuff, except for the Screamtail. We had Terapagos, Incineroar, Urshi, Amoonguss stuff. The Screamtail was Tornadus on those teams a lot, though. But the Screamtail, the different thing about the Screamtail is, yes, you sacrifice some speed control because you'll notice that there's none of it on this team. But you open up turns to set up with Encore and Disable, and that's the big thing that Screamtail is doing.
Yeah, this is like standard Screamtail at this point.
Yep. And the Terra Grass is to get around Rage Powder. You don't run Terra Ghost to avoid Fake Out because you can just like protect and it's fine. Right. And they also shouldn't be faking out in front of Screamtail because you we're going to get Encored into it.
Yeah.
Also helps to not get spored in the face of Mental Herb Amoonguss, which is on this team too.
Yep.
One of the casters called out Mental Herb as being a hot item going
Mental
into
Herb.
NAIC.
Yeah.
And it kind of did pan out. You know?
I think Covert Cloak was also the other big item that came out this weekend because Justin Burns had it, Jody had it. I think it was like all the guys who had Ditto Calyrex Ice had it because they're just using Justin's team. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Covert Cloak Amoonguss is also the big item on Amoonguss.
Yeah.
That people noticed.
What was interesting when this team was on one stream, I think they ended up losing, and they kind of typically you see Screamtail as the Pokemon that traps others, but it got kind of trapped itself because it was an instance where it switched in on, I forget what Pokemon it was, but like the opposing Pokemon, and then it clicked Protect. So it had the booster energy go off, and then it clicked Protect. One of the opposing Pokemon fainted, and then the opponent was able to bring in an Encore Whimsicott. So the Screamtail was then screwed because it's like, I either have to stay in and get Encored into Protect, or I have to switch out and lose my booster energy. And
That's
it's like,
too.
yeah, so that is kind of the downside, I guess, of something where if you get countered on your attempt to trap an opponent, it can really, really bite you because although Screamtail does have 111 base speed, which is great, you're really banking on that +1 to do the things that it's supposed to do. Because you're hoping to disable before you even get attacked, not like after the fact.
That was why I dropped Screamtail right before LA. It was because there were so many popular Miraidon Whimsicott teams that were encoring me. I was like, oh god, I switched for Flutter Mane.
Makes sense.
Yeah, everything else about this team is pretty Terapagos-y.
Yep. Which I mean, it's totally fine, right? Like, it's cool to see that someone made top 8 with it again, because this is the kind of team that just gets crit all over bracket or gets eaten up by like Zamazentas and Koraidons all over bracket and just doesn't make top cut. Not because it's not a good team, but because it's liable to getting crit all over the place.
Exactly. Yeah, when you don't have that speed control like a booster energy Icy Wind Flutter Mane, and you rely on that Calm Mind as opposed to just having instant offense with choice specs, yeah, you're asking to just lose to that. What is it, 7.6% chance it's a crit or whatever it is?
Also, it has Leftovers Terapagos, which is less popular than Covert Cloak when you're not running specs. But it worked.
Yep.
To avoid the snarl spam for those Covert Cloak users.
He must have got lucky. Didn't match up any snarl spammers. Just kidding. I mean, there's a lot of matchup roulette right now, but I'm sure he has ways around. I don't know. Maybe not.
So, speaking of matchup roulette, let's look at this Overquill team, right?
Yeah. Double G, Overquill, Volcarona, love it.
Right?
Yeah.
Scarf Lando Eye, I'm in love.
Yeah, like who runs Lando Eye without Life Orb?
The guys that hate Chi-Yu, that's who.
Yeah. Because Lando Eye is what,
that's
108?
That's also your Miraidon check too, right?
Exactly. And plus, you have rain, so you can just spam Sandsear. You know, and you're fine.
Yeah, you can click
Plus, you
your
got
around and spam Sandsear.
yeah, because you got Drizzle plus Rain Dance on Torn. So,
Mhm.
but the Overcool is so cool. Gunk Shot, Crunch, Acid Spray, and Protect with the Terra Poison.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love the Gunk Shot Crunch thing, right? Because you
Mhm.
can threaten your Calyrex Shadow peeps. And I'm pretty sure that the Gunk Shot is because you're missing your Oko on Terra Fairy Calyrex Shadow if you're using Poison Jab. But the Acid Spray, I think that third move slot was super important for this team, like in the course of the tourney, because you have 1, 2, 3, 4 special attackers on the team. So you can just Acid Spray whenever you're in rain, and then 3 of your Mons love being in the rain. So you can make Tornadus an offensive threat. You can make Volcarona without Quiver Dance an offensive threat with Bug Buzz.
Yep.
Whoa! I just
And
realized it only has Bug Buzz for damage.
and you break Terapagos's Terra Shell, so you can like Acid Spray into it, break the shell, and then it's at -2 special defense to get absolutely eaten alive by whatever other special attack you use.
I like that.
Yep. So I love that it's not just a niche mon, but it's like a niche mon that covers the matchups it really needs to cover and fits so well with the team.
With Life Orb too.
Yeah. Like it's like a cohesive team. I really like how complete the team feels, even with the weird picks.
I just know he's got specific calcs for this thing, and I want to know what they are.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure. Because like when you're running, I'm not gonna say most people, but like you'd imagine, right, that if someone's clicking or like picking Overquill, you're like, oh, it's kind of like an Incineroar. It's a dark Pokemon with Intimidate. But no, this is Swift Swim with Life Orb. And so it's like at base 85 speed, this thing can hit significant numbers at +2. So you're able to really turn the tide and make sure that you are hitting the things that you need to, and then doing those damages, because it's like if you're able to hit something, break Focus Sash, or even just drop its Spit F by 2, like that's doing good damage into something that's resisted, because then it becomes a neutral attack.
Your Life Orb is necessary to get a guaranteed Oko on Terra Fairy Calyrex Shadow with Friend Guard and like a crap ton of physical defense.
Wow.
Sheesh.
Yeah, otherwise you're nowhere close.
Right.
So you are KOing basically every Calyrex Shadow you could ever want that's trying to EV check you without using your Terra Poison.
Because Gunk Shot's kind of like its base damage is so high, its BP is so high. It's kind of like almost. I think you've likened it to like a choice band almost for a poison type. In the past.
Yeah. If it hits, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It hit on stream, which was like it was sick.
Yep.
It feels good when that happens.
Yep.
That's probably important.
And Volcarona is cool too because it's a fire type that's not weak to ground, and so it actually has a semi-decent Calyrex Ice matchup. And the Bug Buzz can force the Calyrex Ice to Terra out of its Ice Psychic type, and a lot of them are going to be one of Fire, Water, Grass, or Dragon. And all 4 of those, his team can hit really well. If you're Grass, you're going to get sniped by Tornadus and Overquill. If you're Water, you're going to get sniped by Rillaboom. If you're Fire, you're obviously going to get sniped by Kyogre and also Lando. And if you're Dragon, then you're going to get hit by Ice Beam. So you're not really safe in any of those 4 instances.
Right. And none of them no Calyrex likes to be Will-O-Wisped.
Mm-hmm. So it's really cool that it forces offensive pins onto Mons, and I really appreciate that about this team. And a lot of successful teams in this format have ways to offensively pin their opponents.
Yeah, so we talk about matchup roulette, but like it's really comes down to having techs for those matchups. And this Mr. Henry Rich, he was cooking. He was thinking about those techs.
For sure.
And it shows that he was running this team for a long time, that he knew, okay, these are my bad matchups that I need a 6 mon for. let me patch it up in this specific way. So like stick with your team, and you can see the vision.
Mm-hmm.
And kudos for you being willing to, you know, break out from the mold like it's
Mhm.
done.
Yes.
Still cool. I mean, Henry Rich wins it all for me. We don't need to talk about anything else.
Yeah, right.
Should we talk about the finalists?
Yeah, we
Nah.
should, because they have a couple of cool techs on their team too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, tell me about it.
So Aurelian Sula has a bunch of stuff that we've seen before. You know, Flutter, Chiyut, Turtle, which is your special attacking core, and then Urshi, Water, Grimmsnarl, Iron Hands. Again, we've seen those three specifically. We haven't really seen together recently. We used to see them on raid teams in like Reg D or E. Um, it's got foul play on Grimmsnarl to pressure all those people who don't reset for 0 attack IVs. um, and it pressures those Kali Ices like we saw in the finals. We also have Taunt, Safety Goggles, Urshifu. So you can taunt around Amoonguses into
That's
like
cool.
Calm Minds or something like that. But here's the coolest move on this whole team. Try attack Terapagos.
Yeah.
Because when you become Terra Stellar, all your normal type moves are twice as effective. So you have a choice specs boosted, 2 times effective try attack. You can just snipe anything you want with in case you run into wide guard, which is what happened in the finals and he didn't anticipate it. But that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of running hyper beam, you just run try attack.
Yeah, first time I saw it, I was like, try attack. And then I was like, try attack.
Mm-hmm.
I also really like the Fluttermane on this team. I realize that Fluttermane's like super, super meta, and I totally get it. But having the Icy Wind Fluttermane without without Dazzling Gleam, I think is nice because when I was watching Aurelian's run through top 8, one thing that really stuck out to me was how they were able to utilize the Fluttermane to really change some matchups. Because being able to just have Fluttermane Chi-Yu, I mean, I realize that that's something that we've had since Regulation C, but that doesn't mean that it's bad or that it's weak. It's still incredibly strong. So, like in the top 4 match, Aurelian loses game 1, brings Fluttermane Chi-Yu to lead game 2, and I was like, oh, this is phenomenal because it was into Kali Shadow plus Rillaboom, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. We're going to be able to get off an Icy Wind into Heat Wave, and it's Dark Pulse into the Kali Shadow, and they're going to do so much better. But the Kali Shadow protected didn't get hit by the Icy Wind, and then the Fluttermane instantly dies from Woodhammer by Rillaboom, which I thought was a net negative, but forced the Terra on Rillaboom. Because the Rillaboom was facing down the Chi-Yu and had to go Fire Terra. So even though it was like a loss from Fluttermane where it didn't do like anything in turn 1, it did force that Terra, which then allowed for Iron Hands to wall the Rillaboom in the end game of game 2 because it went Grass Terra. So the Rillaboom couldn't do anything to it except for U-turn. And then in game 3, repeated the same exact lead, forced the Terra again, and then they lost again because of the fact that they had to burn Terra so quickly. And that's the thing that I like about Aurelian's team is that it's like, yes, you can make a single good turn to stop what's going to be happening. But because of the fact that they have so many Pokemon that do such damage, it's like, I don't know. When you force that Terra early, it allows Aurelian to figure out what they want to do, 3, 4, 5, 6 turns from that point, and then you may have already lost and you didn't even realize it. And I think that was just very cool to watch and firsthand.
Yep. Scary team.
And the winning team actually had some neat things to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the only things to call out that are, I guess, bit different from standard are your Rillaboom is Terra Normal and your Raging Bolt is Terra Fairy. So we've had Terra Fairy Raging Bolt back in Regulation E or Regulation F as like a super defensive AV bot or a Calm Mind bot. But now we have it on this team to help tank hits, right? But then your
Mhm.
Rillaboom is a last-ditch Calyrex Shadow answer with Terra Normal.
Mm-hmm.
That I think is super cool because like you're not going to use that Terra honestly most of the time, and if you're getting Will-O-Wisp on that Rillaboom, it's a skill issue.
Exactly. You have multiple other ways to get around that, whether it's
Mhm.
switching Pelipper or Bolt or Incin, you know?
Yep, and whether it's EVs, item choices, move sets, or Terra types in this case, I like that these top teams have ways that change up matchups ever so slightly to keep people on their toes.
Right. And I think with this team too, you know what I found most interesting when watching it, and this is something that I saw from a lot of Cali Ice players, which I haven't played with Calyrex Ice very much, but something that I found fascinating was how Calyrex Ice is built with such great defenses and bulk that it's not a trick room bot.
Mhm.
Where other trick rooms setters and like specifically like trick room Pokemon are one where they need to set trick room immediately and then deal damage. Half the Calyrex that I saw on stream, including Patrick's, would not click Trick Room until after they've already clicked Glacial Lance once, maybe twice, throw in a Protect in there. So they're getting that mid-game Trick Room that
Mhm.
they really are able to benefit from because they have, these other, I guess, faster, like they have a fast option in Urshifu Rapid Strike, and then the others are slow, but they're bulky enough that they're able to withstand the first couple rounds of the opponent's Pokemon, draw out some of their resources that are being used, and then hit them with the fact that, oh yeah, now all of the speeds are completely reversed, and you now have to withstand the onslaught that we're about to bring you, and this avalanche is not stopping. And that was like, that's just super hard to withstand because it's like you have this mid-game trick room with the furry fire water grass core in Incin, Rillaboom, and Urshifu Rapid Strike that also happens to have Scarf coaching. And
Yep.
it's sure, maybe it's a basic team, I guess, but it's also incredibly strong, and you see the vision and you can see how positioning would help you to really get into a good spot to sort of just like he was ending games with 2 turns left in Trick Room because
Yeah.
of the fact that they were out of position and they weren't able to like switch in time to be able to stop what was happening. And it's like, oh man, you're now forced to switch in your Incin on the second to last turn of Trick Room. Okay, cool. You get that. You fake me out on the second to last turn. Well, I'm going again because I planned for this and you didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Making him burn resources early. And yeah, I think that's one of the big strengths of the Cali Ice team is that you can make really flexible game plans like that your opponent really can't adjust to because those game plans aren't necessarily obvious from team preview, right?
Mhm.
Turn 1 Trick Room is one game plan, but then turn 6 Trick Room is also a viable game plan.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's much harder to prevent Trick Room from going up if you've burned, 2, 3 of your mons already.
Yeah, because most people are okay with stopping turn 1 Trick Room, but
Mhm.
it's the turn 3, the turn
Yeah.
6, whatever that you're like, oh god, I gotta like maneuver back into it, and then they
Yeah.
gotta focus down the Cali Ice, and then they maybe can't because they're gonna eat a weather ball right to the face.
And it could be a scary 50-50 when you're like, is he setting the trick room now or is he just going to hit me in the face? Because he
Yeah.
deals so much damage. He's got so much bulk and he's got his own built-in speed control.
Mhm.
And you could say it's overpowered. But this team is I mean, you could say it's classic or boring or whatever, but really it's just a good team. And this guy, it doesn't care if everybody's played this sort of team before. He's skill diffed them.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Very true.
And that's what it takes. A little bit of luck and a whole lot of skill. Actually, probably a little more than a little luck, but to win these things, to top and take it home.
It's got to boost that charisma. That's all it is. Just
Yeah.
a good dice roll in your favor.
Yep. Got to build up that good karma so you get good rolls.
I think it was a pretty good NAIC overall. I enjoyed watching it. I had fun.
Me too. I totally watched it.
The finals are definitely one of the best finals all year, if not the
Yeah.
best finals all year.
Yeah. It was very exciting. I did like. I know that I fawned over Patrick. I did, and also Aurelian. The adjustments made by Aurelian in game two to bring Chi Yu to allow for Fluttermane to Oko Raging Bolt with Moonblast by switching in Beads of Ruin where it didn't get the kill. And also to go with the Ghost Terra on Snarl to be able to avoid fake out, which they got just like spam faked out in game one, and then also get the foul play kill onto Calyrex Ice. Like it was very well done by both players. Like there was a ton of great adjustments and back and forth. It was very exciting to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Masterclass in VGC.
Yeah.
Speaking of class, I think this has been a good one.
Are we over? Bell's about to ring?
About to. Thanks for joining me, guys. Always a pleasure to have you back on, John. Beer, whatever the fuck your real name is.
Jake, I guess.
Just kidding.
Jake, I guess.
Oh, thanks for having me back on. I appreciate it. You reaching out and inviting me.
Yep, and thank you, John, for always coming on, being the best ever. Please come back next time.
Maybe not. Maybe I'll U-turn my way out of here.
Damn, well, fine. Don't come back.
So mysterious. You can never lock him down.
Yeah, that's what we love
Can't
about
shadow
it.
tag me in.
He's a ghost type. Free bird. Free soul.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably just cut it out here. Was there anything else you guys think we should say or go over?
No, you just gotta say. We need to say our goodbyes, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, say your goodbyes.
All right, goodbye, everyone. Good luck. Enjoy the next 6 weeks without any regionals or Pokemon. If it's not more, it might even be 8 weeks at this point. You'll be fine. Stay strong and have a good one.
Is that how long it is till Worlds? Or
I think it's like, yeah, it is 6 weeks. Yeah.
oh, damn. Well, we'll probably be hearing a little less of us until then.
Or maybe a lot more. You never know. We might be cooking up some.
I'll do whatever I want.
Eat. So until next time.
Bye-bye.
All right. Good night, sweet dreams. Class is dismissed.
Night class.
All right. Where did my questions go? All right. First of all, Mr. Tigers, why do you go by Shady Tigers?
Because I'm bad at choosing names, and I was like, and I don't remember exactly why, but one day I was like, oh, Shady Turtles sounds pretty cool, and then Shady Turtles was taken on something, so I was like, okay, Tigers it is.
Gotcha. So the common denominator being that either way you're shady.
Sure.
That's fair.
It just sounded kind of all right.
Yeah, it's a nice little 2-word, 2-syllable each name. Anyway, so you went to NAIC and you day two'd. What was your final score?
10-5.
Nice. Well, overall, how did you like New Orleans? Had you ever been there?
I had been there before. It's a cool little city. I am like out of shape these days, so I did not enjoy like walking around and stuff that much, and it was hot, and I'm also not like a big fan of like drinking and stuff anymore, like partying type of stuff, but there's still a lot of other cool stuff to do that if I was there for more than just Mons, I probably would have explored more. But
That's
yeah.
fair. I heard it was muggy as hell, and I don't know what else you do in New Orleans, but like pretend it's Mardi Gras every day. I don't know.
Apparently there's like museums and stuff, I think, and stuff like that, because it's got a lot of history and stuff like that, a lot of culture and history to it. But
Yeah, that's cool. I'm hoping to go next year, since I think the rumor is that they're gonna have NAIC there
Yes.
next year too.
yeah, they already officially announced that it's going to be there next year.
Okay.
The rumor is that it's going to be there for the next 3 years.
How was your NAIC experience overall?
I mean, it was all right. I was like hella stressed because I had to top 64, or else I wouldn't get my invite.
Oh, nice. You scored the world invite. That's awesome. Like, so you're
Yeah.
going, I assume.
Yeah, I'm planning on it. It's expensive.
Heck
We'll
yeah.
see.
Exactly. That's that's why I was like, from the beginning, I'm like, I'm not going to Worlds this year, but
I mean, like the flight is cheap. It's like $400 for a flight, but the hotels are like dumb expensive.
yeah. So, to my understanding, you've been getting better and better results at these regionals, and now you've made day two in AIC. Is there anything in particular you can point to that speaks to what you're doing differently to get better results now than before?
So like a big thing is like being able to understand your both yours and your opponent's board states and understanding what they have to do to succeed and versus what you have to do to succeed, and like understanding how your opponent's going to play. Like if you know they're good reading protects and stuff like that, you can play a little bit more risky. Or for instance, for my winning in actually for one of the games, I had Psychic Terrain up, Cali Ice, and Smeargle on the field. Smeargle just got a speed boost, and my Smeargle has Spore. He has Iron Hands and Chi-Yu on the field, and he's playing a Miraidon team with Miraidon in the back. The Chi-Yu's locked into Heat Wave. The Iron Hands is low, and his Iron Hands is faster than my Calyrex. So I know in that situation he has to manage the fact that his Chi-Yu's basically doing nothing if I click Wide Guard. His Iron Hands can just go to sleep, or his Chi-Yu can go to sleep because I'm faster. And he wants to be able to do damage, be able to kill my Calyrex. So given that situation, I knew that he was going to switch Chi-Yu into Miraidon. So I was able to click Fake Out into his Iron Hands and just click Glacial Lance and get a double KO. Because I understood my opponent's board state and like the pressures that he was under and needed to avoid.
So your improvement has been that you've gotten better at reading board states.
Yeah, better understanding like the basic stuff of the game, basics of the game, and like how the flow of the game needs to be played. But like, and a lot of this just comes with like practice and like actually analyzing your own gameplay outside of just regionals and stuff like that.
What do you do to analyze your own gameplay? You like watch?
You just like watch your own replays, or
Take notes.
yeah, take notes, or critically think of stuff after the game is already done, type of stuff.
Okay. Do you take a lot of notes when you're at regionals?
I wouldn't say a
Events.
lot. I would say I take some. I'm usually writing down like speed tiers or sometimes damage calcs that are important. Um, like if I find out that my Calyrex can survive a specific double up, or if, like for instance, if my Rillaboom's faster than their Urshifu, I had that once at Indy. That's something that I'll write down. I write down if they Terra, stuff like that. Like if they Terra early, or and then like behavioral stuff. So, um, like I'll note down if I know that they're playing. If I notice that they're playing like super passive, then that means I can start playing like more aggressive, and I don't have to worry about them as much.
Cool. So you brought Cali Ice. Is that
Mhm.
what you've been playing for most of Reg G?
That's what I've been playing for all of Reg G for official events.
What made you decide on that?
I was in DMs with a buddy, and we were just talking. He was like, "Oh, I might just do Cali Ice, like hard trick room stuff." And I was like, "Well, I mean, I'd be down to build some Cali Ice stuff with you, but I don't want to run it hard trick room." So my initial team was actually, we built it as a tail room team. So I was running a fast Calyrex Ice. It had 92 speed, like that was its actual speed stat, and it was able to work in both Trick Room and Tailwind. And it ran a lot more like a standard balance team rather than a Trick Room team.
That's cool. I've been seeing a lot of Cali Ice teams like that. Um, what would you say set your team apart from other Cali Ice teams?
For NAIC or my old one?
I guess this one.
So for this one, I was running triple redirection and triple normal types, and it was leaning more hard Trick Room, whereas the standard Cali Ice is like the balance stuff with Amoonguss, Urshifu, Raging Bolt type stuff. And I ran Cali Ice, Smeargle, Indeedee, Rock Ogerpon, Blood Moon Ursaluna, and Okidogi. So it leaned more hard Trick Room. It wasn't completely hard Trick Room, but it leaned that direction. And it was just like strictly a meta call. It was a strictly a meta call for expecting a lot of Calyrex Shadow Riders and Clefairy, a lot of Terapagos, and a lot of Miraidon.
Well, that seems like it was the right call for that for NAAC.
Yeah.
I noticed you said Okidogi. How was the Okidogi on your team?
Okidogi was fantastic for the meta call that I was making. Gunk Shot, it gets Gunk Shot and it gets Knockoff, both of which pressure all the Calyrex Shadow Riders super hard because most of them are running Terra Fairy, and it also one-shots Clefairy as well. So that, and it's also a 3-hit KO with Astro Barrage onto Okidogi. So I was able to pressure that as well, and it's a fighting type, which gave me something into Terapagos, as well as it super pressures Incineroar because of Guard Dog, which is kind of like Defiant, but it only applies to Intimidate, not other stat drops.
Right, that's really cool. I like it already. What item?
Assault Vest.
Okay, that's what I figured. And you said 3-hit KO, but I think that's. I mean, nobody runs Okidogi in a way, like some people, but like Soul Vest is what I see a lot on it, and that's cool that it seems like it was the call and that you did well with it.
Yeah.
Did you have any notable matchups against players you know?
So I played Javier Parada, who is a top LATAM player. Beat him in round 2 or round 3, either 2 or 3. I don't remember. And then I played Jan Sim, who is one ranking above Javier in the CP standings. Both of them have 700 CP at NAIC. And Jan Sim actually got top 4, I think, at NAIC. I played him and lost. And then I played Desu or Nico Cogneta. I beat him pretty significantly. He just he led poorly in game 1 against me, and he also just couldn't handle the Trick Room mode with his team because he didn't have Amoonguss. I know a lot of the other Italian guys for his team were running Amoonguss, but he was running Rockbond instead. So I was just able to set up Trick Room and kind of sweep through him. And then my winning in was, what is his name? Let me look here. Their dashboard. Calvin Nissan or whatever. He had, I want to say he had like 600 CP coming into NAIC, so he's a pretty decent player. Um, and then pretty much my entire field went. Oh, I also played Kevin Swastik, who has quite a few achievements as well. In day 2, I played Kyle Livinghouse and Nick Navarre. Both of them beat me, but Nick gave me the win to help me get my invite. So
Wow,
there's
that's
that.
sweet.
So, um, so I did get a little bit bailed to get my invite, but he was in a position where he didn't need the points and he wasn't in a position to get money. So he's like, okay, well, I'm not going to gatekeep you from your invite. So here you go, type of thing.
Nick Navarre?
Yeah.
Dang, what a guy.
Yeah. So that was helpful because I played poorly against him. So I didn't deserve that dub, but
How did
I'll
that
take
go?
it
You were like
nonetheless.
battling him and you were like, this is my winning in.
So because I like know him a little bit through a mutual, I was just kind of talking. I was like, yeah, you just got to win the next 2 or whatever. And uh, uh, for my invite, and I was just kind of talking. And he's like, oh, okay, well, I'll just scoop because I don't feel like gatekeeping you, type of thing. And then it was like really awkward for me because I was like, oh, man, I didn't mean for that to happen when I sat down and said that. And like, and he's like, nah, it's fine because I offered it. I completely offered it. I don't need the points. Like, nothing's happening. And then we just ended up still playing the games just to play them. So, but yeah.
And then, so he won the games, but you guys wrote you as the winner or what?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess if there was some way to throw, that seems like a nice way of him to go about it. Let's see. How did you prepare for NAIC?
So I actually did not prep that much. I made this team the Monday before NAIC. Because I had my old team and I was like, this team is not it. This team is not gonna work for NAIC. There's just too much. It has a bad Calyrex Shadow matchup, and it's just not gonna work. It's just not gonna be it. I need to figure something else out. I talked with Alex Underhill a little bit, and he gave me the Smeargle and Cornerstone idea. That I started with the base, and then me and one of my buddies were talking, and we had been talking about Okidogi and how it was a good Clef CSR counter. And I was like, okay, I'm putting that on there. And then from there, I originally, after talking to Underhill, had Incineroar and Landorus Incarnate on there. And I was like, well, right now, I have like a super big Urshifu water issue. So I was like, okay, fine. Let's just turn this into Trick Room. I want a ground type still for like Zama stuff, and Miraidon stuff and stuff like that. I just like having a ground type a lot.
Yeah, makes sense
So
right now.
I'm gonna put it into a situation where I can just set up Trick Room and Blood Moon can just like kill the Urshifu. It just that's just what it does. It just kills Urshifu. And it also survives all of Urshifu's attacks unless it Terra Waters or is like choice banned.
It
And
survives
then
surging strikes.
yes,
You
I have
mean
it.
untered?
I have it set to survive surging strikes. Yes.
Okay. Are you willing to share that EV spread or not yet?
Not right now because I don't know if I'm going to use Blood Moon or not, and what's going to happen for Worlds.
Gotcha.
And then I kind of just tossed Indeedee on there as like, okay, this is like another Earth check, another Earth water check with Terra Water safety goggles, and with goggles it gives me an Amoonguss check as well, and stuff like that. So I was like, we'll just throw this on there. I don't think it was necessarily the right answer, but I didn't have a lot of time to like iron things out properly.
Did it like come up those answers?
Yeah, I mean, I used it quite often. Actually, I played Arcane VGC in round 11. Who is sometimes in the trainer school Discord. I've seen him around sometimes, and he plays in some of the tournaments and stuff like that. And I got pretty unlucky against him, but like it was, I was able to get in a lot of good positions because of the Indeedee. I was able to like Terra Water and double a slot, and like he'd swap in his Pelipper, and the Pelipper would just die because I would double attack and stuff like that.
So you had it in DD that actually hurt things. What was the 4 attacks?
Just psychic, it just standard stuff. Psychic, Helping Hand, Trick Room, Follow Me.
Gotcha.
It's just standard.
Yeah.
But I kept Psychic over Dazzling Gleam. I know a lot of people like Dazzling Gleam for breaking stashes and stuff. But I was like, well, I don't want to get walled in Trick Room by Wide Guard. So I want to be able to have Psychic, and I want to have
Yeah.
but that way I
makes
can
sense.
threaten multiple pressures, as well as Psychic actually kills Urshifu where Dazzling Gleam wouldn't.
I like that. What are your goals with VGC, like long term or short term?
So now that I got my first day 2, because this was my first day 2 that I've ever gotten which was at NIC, which is actually very fitting because my first 6-3 was at NAIC last year, and then I was 6-3 at almost every event since then, and then NAIC I get my first day 2. But obviously I want to do well at Worlds. I'd like to at least make day 2 of Worlds this year. So I've got a lot of prep going forward for that, and then I would like to top cut a regional probably this year. I would say the main goal would probably be to day 2 the majority of my regionals this year. And then I also, if the CP requirements stay the same as they did this season, I would like to get my invite by April, ideally.
Why would you want that?
Just to be able to get it early and not have to stress. Like this year, I had to super stress over it because I didn't really have a lot of PCs near me, and like I kind of blew off some of the MSSs and stuff like that at regionals because I was like, oh, well, I'll have time. I'm not worried about it. And then it got to crunch time, and I kind of had to like rush for things, and it was just like extra stressful for no reason. And it also like getting it earlier means that I'm getting more points faster, which means I'm in theory getting better.
Yeah, so if you were to have more points early or like get your invite early next year, do you think you would just kind of take a break and not play as much until Worlds?
I have no idea. It would depend on a few things. I would probably still play, but it just depends. Like I might skip a regional that I would otherwise go to, but like I'd probably still go to NAIC and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Cool. So you're basically your long-term goal is that you plan to just continue playing VGC for as long as you feel like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's about the only thing that I do with my life anymore.
Yeah, I can kind of vibe with that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's been a solid interview. Thanks for doing this. Is there any like final words you'd like to say, shout outs or anything?
Not really. I mean, my buddy Cruz knows that he has to deal with my bullshit all the time, so we got that. Otherwise, shout out to Underhill for the Smeargle suggestion, stuff like that. But otherwise, nothing really.
Was your friend
That's
Cruz
about
the
it.
one who you were building with?
Yeah, I build with Cruz on a regular basis.
Who's that guy you were mentioning about starting this team with?
Well, we talked about the Okie Dokie. I didn't like start the basis of the team with him necessarily.
Gotcha. Well, cool, man. I appreciate your time, and I'll be seeing you on the server and eventually in person too, I'm sure.
Yeah, dude.
All right, have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Later.